Hi, I'm Justin Arnett Graham.
And I'm Nariba Shepherd.
And this is Terms of Service. Episode 2, Season 3, Baby. Okay?
Back at it again.
We're back, bitches. And it feels so fucking good. Who would have thought?
I think it's real now.
Yeah.
I wake up
It
and
just
I
took
got
us to
ready
get
today.
to season fucking 3. Yeah.
We just...
Okay.
People keep listening, you know? So we gotta give them what they came for.
We gotta keep on keeping on.
Something.
Okay? Yeah. So, during our break, how the fuck have you been?
Just...
Them eyebrows is popping though.
the pink brows. Mm-hmm. It will be this way until...
It's no longer that way?
I mean, I feel like I'm going to switch it back, like, when it's real fall, not fake fall.
Okay. Because, I mean, this is dropping probably in that, is fall coming? But
it's
going to
be summer still, in my mind.
Okay.
It's not fall until, it's October.
Okay. Fair.
So.
Well, this will be dropping before then. So
hot brow summer.
We love to see it. Okay. And so since we've been on a break for so long, you have forgotten to ask me how the hell I've been. So
you
I've
just
been
literally
doing
didn't
just
give me
fine.
any freaking space.
Okay.
Just give me a minute.
Okay.
I was just waiting for you to finish talking so that I can talk instead of us cutting each other off.
But I kind of like that, though.
Okay, well, fine, bitch. How you been?
I've been okay.
Oh, are you gonna elaborate?
It's been a quite eventful break. It's I don't want to say that it has ceased any sort of operations or anything like that, because there's a lot of moving parts behind this entire initiative here and this platform and this community that we've been extremely fortunate to build. And I will say that prior to this drop, or ideally right around this drop, we'll have some merch for the kids.
Yeah, we will.
Some fire-ass merch. We have our branding. We have our new dynamic. We have our site that is just popping and beautiful. So www.termsofservice.media. Feel free to check us out. And also, while you're there, just go ahead and give us a like and follow wherever you find us. And also, our DMs stay open, but as a gentle reminder, review this shit.
Yeah, for real.
Thank
Get
you.
out there.
Thank you.
I can't be the only one putting up reviews.
Okay, well, you know that if you keep doing reviews, it only takes it one time.
I know. I stopped.
Okay. You're like, this hasn't shifted.
I'm going to wait until I have,
multiple computers and devices.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
But you know how I feel about technology. I'm lazy as fuck. It'll never happen.
And well, at this point...
maybe I should open one of those, want to increase your followers? That's completely a scam and will hack my Instagram account and rob me of everything.
You
that's
did
on
not
there.
hear that here. So if you get any sort of correspondence from Nariba on Instagram...
It's not me.
It's not her. It's not her. So that's great. And so bringing it back to reality, bringing it back to life, if you will.
Oh my God. Can we say that? Do we have the rights?
I'm not singing it though.
Okay, fine.
So there's that.
Oh, remember when I used to sing things and you would tell me that we just have to cut out that whole part?
Yes, I do. And you all can revisit those wonderful episodes back in season 1 and season 2, but more so season 1 when we were truly just getting our feet wet. And I am wildly excited and stupidly ecstatic with our next guest.
Yes. After sitting silently while we just ramble for a while.
I know. And I want to hear him talk about it because I can only imagine what that looks like. Hi, Max.
Hi.
Hello.
Excuse me. Hello, Chef Max.
Yes, we have to distinguish.
Musto.
Yes. All right. Well, welcome to Terms
Thank
of
you
Service.
for having me.
Thank you.
So excited to be here.
Yes. Well, one would say your tone does not make me believe that. But I will say,
I have a big smile on my face.
I
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
I know. And I'm just like, I'm like, we want the listeners to feel it. So how
Bring
are
the
you doing?
energy is what you're saying.
Yeah, so how
All
are
right,
you
I got
feeling,
you.
Max?
I'm feeling fantastic.
Oh, you know what? I was like,
Yeah.
that's what I'm trying to get. And also, we have not stopped this tradition,
No.
and it will never go away.
As long as I live and breathe, I want to know what your sign is.
Yes. What's your
Ooh,
sign?
What do you think I am?
Oh, Nariba, that's
okay,
you. That's
so I
you.
was
That's you.
trying to
That's
guess.
you. Yes.
Earlier, but my confidence level isn't very high today.
Okay.
So I'm gonna ask some clarifying questions.
All right, let's go.
Do you enjoy interacting with strangers?
Love it.
Okay. Secondary
I
question.
feel like this is like Guess Who.
Yeah, okay. Secondary
Mattel,
question.
if you're listening. Go on.
We could take your money.
Yes.
Do you like people or animals better?
That's a hard one because I feel like we're all equal.
See.
Are you a Gemini?
Girl, you know I'm an Aquarius.
God.
Yes, Aquarius, baby.
Oh my God. Okay, well, I guess
Justin, are you an Aquarius as well?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
Yes.
I knew it.
Okay,
I knew it. What
so-
are you, darling?
I'm an Aries.
Shit.
Rihanna's
Yeah.
an Aries.
Rihanna is an Aries by adoption,
Okay.
but I believe the queen is a Pisces.
That's first.
Yeah. I was like,
I mean,
okay.
she has a lot of Aries in her chart, but she's a Pisces.
Okay.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean,
I was like, that tracks. Okay.
if you've ever listened to Needed Me, it's the biggest Pisces show. It's like, I'ma cry the whole time, but I'ma fuck your shit up.
But I don't need your shit.
No,
yeah.
no.
Yeah, and that is our pop culture moment.
Yeah.
And
Brought to you
Also,
by-
Rihanna had a baby. No one forget. I know it's been a couple of months, but
Wait, has anybody seen this baby yet?
no.
no.
That baby has to be the most beautiful specimen on earth. I mean, ASAP Rocky, like, seriously?
Yeah.
Local man, according to Justin. Didn't want to put respect on his name. It's fine.
For the record, I have met Local Man.
What?
Okay. I
Why
am
did you
not-
wait this whole fucking time?
Because I am not at liberty to truly speak about it.
Okay.
But there's proof on the gram. And yeah, y'all can just find me there. At This Is Biko.
All right. Well, you're gonna show us that
Stalking.
immediately when
Yeah.
we're done recording.
Yeah, no,
Cool.
it was a great talk that I was a part of, and it was in, I want to say, within considerable months of him coming back from like Switzerland or you know
What?
from.
That was
Yeah.
recently?
No, this was years ago because when that was happening.
I mean, yeah, but in the last 5 years.
Oh yeah.
That's recent, bitch.
Okay, well.
God.
Yeah.
I knew you.
You thought you knew him.
I,
Shit.
Thanks, Max.
you're damn right.
Thank you.
Okay, wait. So going back to the Aquarius tip, it makes sense that you would be an Aquarius just based on your like work flow situation and on me stalking both your regular gram and your work gram,
The business gram.
business gram. Well, businesses take work.
I mean,
You can't see that I moved fake hair from the air in front of my face and tucked it behind my headphones, but you know
I think
what I mean?
we have some content on that, and I'm looking around.
Yeah.
No,
People
we
know.
don't.
Damn it.
That was a lie.
I was just like, incorrect. but it's all good. It's fine. So let's just get into it.
Let's do this.
Max.
Yes.
It has been so long since I have seen you.
Yeah.
And again, I'm so happy that you're here. How the hell have you been? That deep sigh. Us Aquariuses know it well.
I have been better than I've ever been in my entire life.
God damn. Nice.
It's a blessing.
I love the fuck out of that.
Yeah.
Yes. Would you like to expand upon that? But also, we were speaking earlier.
Yeah.
Speaking before is not allowed.
You are correct. Thank you so much.
I always get told this would be great content. Stop talking.
This is correct. I am often seen running around the set being like, save it for the mic.
Yes.
Save it for the mic. I was just like, y'all trying to get to know one another? Save it for the fucking mic, please. But I say that respectfully and for it to always just be connected back to our community of listeners because we appreciate y'all. And we want you to be able to connect with them through your narrative. Nariba.
Okay.
Thank you. But so, last time I saw you somewhere on Randolph, might have been Al Cheval. I feel like it was. And it was a hot minute.
Yeah.
You put years on it.
Yeah, I feel like
And
it's
that
been a
just, like,
decade.
God damn.
Really?
I mean, we follow each other on social media.
Yeah.
We're actively seeing each other's lives,
Yeah.
but like an in-person interaction is probably, unless there was times that we don't remember.
Yeah, no, I mean, that could be very factual.
But yeah,
Very factual.
probably about a decade.
Yeah.
We had a really great conversation, connected.
Yeah. And so that is the power of conversation because look at us.
ABCs.
Always be connecting.
Always.
There you go.
Learning
Always
it every day
I
with
love
Justin.
that. ABCs,
Yeah.
always be connecting. That's
always be connecting.
that's beautiful.
Yeah. Thank you.
Justin be tricking me into connecting. He's like, we should go hang out and do this thing. And then it's like 5 people that he's trying to like work with or get to work with the gram or the pod.
Wait
Sorry.
a fucking minute.
And I'm like, oh, this is happening. All right, cool.
No.
The Johnny Walker dinner, how many people did you know?
I wasn't invited to that. Okay? Let the record reflect
Okay,
that
Max.
we were invited.
Yes,
Our
but
producer,
how many
Max,
people
invited
did you know at the dinner?
a few.
There were 20 people. How many people did you know?
A high percentage.
All of them.
But it was
basically
it was
all
great.
of them.
It was great.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah, but also, shout out to Johnny Walker.
Oh, yeah, that was awesome.
For inviting us to that Changemakers dinner at Virtue. Shout out to Virtue, always and
That
fucking
place is
forever.
amazing. The
it
food was
just-
great, drinks great, people great.
Everything.
That impromptu terms of service photo shoot.
That can't wait for that content. So since this is dropping in the future, y'all will already have seen it. But we'll probably drop it again in support of this.
Oh,
this
110%.
conversation. Yeah, for sure.
A TBT, if you will.
A nice TBT.
Mhm,
We do like that. We do like that a lot. So
Give us
Max.
give us your spiel, my dude.
I just
Like-
want to because so much has happened. I was at L2O, and you were elsewhere.
I was at Spiaggia
Yeah.
at the time.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so kind of like raising to that level of culinary excellence or culinary acumen or whatever the fuck marketing term that it, kind of translates to. We were very much in the thick of the pressure of our careers, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on that?
That was a very intense and stressful time of my life where I developed and cultivated a skill set that I'll take with me for the rest of my life, but I never want to do that shit again.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
is.
Yes.
That's the vibe.
Yeah.
It's the whole vibe.
Yeah.
That's the entire vibe. Because no.
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 And it's interesting to me how, I don't want to say how ingrained, but just the structure of it really just like you always carry it with you, right?
Yeah.
And there are some elements that I'm just like, okay, I can fuck with that. But then there's other elements to where it's like you can lose yourself in it.
Yeah.
100.
Yeah, and I mean, I've talked pretty extensively on past episodes about like that part of my hospitality experience. I learned the most, but also I don't think I was like happy.
I don't think any of us were like happy. I think we were running on
we
the
weren't doing that
adrenaline.
for happiness.
No,
It just like
to survive.
but then does it become self-serving because is it ego-driven? Like,
Yeah, absolutely.
So
It's all ego.
yeah, but it's not our shit. So where does that ego come from?
I think we were really young at that point of our
Yeah,
life too. We were still
absolutely.
learning a lot about ourselves and where we wanted to go in our careers and the industry.
Where we thought
and
we wanted to go, you know?
Yeah,
I think
absolutely.
that's a big part of it.
Yeah.
Is like thinking that that's how you level up. And then once you get there, you're like, I don't fucking want to do this shit.
no,
no.
no, and also, did we have fun?
I mean,
There were moments.
I mean, there were moments,
But
of
like,
fun,
I feel
right?
like for me personally, there was a lot more sadness and challenging and, long days and
Yeah.
self-sabotage and, self-harm in a
Yeah.
way
Yeah.
from that kind of pressure that I feel that a young mind might not have the skill set to cope.
right.
I like to refer to it as like the fraternity model. It's where you don't realize that you are being hazed the entire time until you're gone.
Yeah.
And like in retrospect, I'm like, yeah, everything seemed fun. Like, was I having a nervous breakdown and lying about calling out of work so I could have a mental health day?
Abso-fucking-lutely.
Absolutely.
Yes.
But like, I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that no matter how much you work, you're not making enough money. And when you're not working, you feel like you're lazy and you're not doing anything. And it's a vicious
And you also have
cycle.
student loans to pay back on $12 an hour.
Yeah, exactly. Fuck that shit. Fuck that shit.
Right. And
They can keep calling me.
They ain't getting their money.
it's just
I'm like, until I can afford rent and all my bills and like buy groceries like a normal person, they're not getting my fucking money.
that you're just like,
Don't listen to this. My advice is bad.
you're like,
Rakita would be
you're
like,
like same phone, who
swiveling
dis?
in her
Okay.
chair, being like, "Pay that shit."
Right. Also, shout out to Rakita Webb from season 1 when we talked about literally the withholding of information. And I actually want to kind of dive into that very, very briefly because I've talked about how this industry is so commodity driven. In my opinion, I feel like hospitality is one of the most inhospitable industries on the planet.
Yep.
And it has this facade, but I also want to make it very clear that I have been fortunate to do other things besides hospitality, but I have a genuine enjoyment and a genuine passion about it because I just want to take care of someone. Like I want to provide an experience for someone. But it comes
The Aquarius in you.
Listen,
Nurturing.
Max,
My little
thank
sweet
you.
soul.
Thank you. But also it's just like how much of yourself do you lose in order to facilitate something like that?
I feel like the industry is giving very 9 of Cups energy right now, which is just the idea of like you have all this shit on display and you're like, everyone come see how great it is. But there's like a curtain that's like preventing people from seeing what's actually happening behind the scenes.
Lauryn Hill actually talks about that in her live Unplugged album. There's a little excerpt in between. I don't know if you guys have listened to this album.
yeah.
It's incredible. It's basically about her having a spiritual awakening. It's a very beautiful album. I listen to it all the time. But there's one part in there, if you're familiar, then where she talks about how she went to Disney World and they brought her behind the lines, and you see all these in the front of Disney World, everything's perfect, and there's this play and there's this acting and all this stuff that's going on. But behind the curtain, there's something else, and you see all these people and stuff being thrown around, and it's crazy. And that's what she was saying about her life, right? She had to put on this facade, this person that she really wasn't. Right. She wasn't being her authentic self because she had to be this commodity for this record label or for whatever. And when she finally had this awakening and did this album, she's like, this is what I'm gonna do. And they're like, oh, Lauren, you're gonna be this like hip hop folk singer. And she's like, no, this is me. Quit boxing me in. And there's a song on there called Get Out. I get out of all your boxes. And that's what it's about. Song. She's the queen. Yeah. Period.
I was just like, the queen that can't show up on time, but that's fine. Yeah. Because when you got it like that, I guess, but
I ain't saying nothing. Lauryn Hill, I love you.
I mean,
I can have zero opinions about you.
Okay. Heard.
She's scary.
So, Max, you've been up to quite a bit. So if you could kind of, however you're comfortable, just
start somewhere. Like, how did you get into the industry?
All right. So, my dad's in food sales. And so I grew up, my dad worked for Superior Coffee that was bought by Quaker and then bought by Sara Lee. So I grew up going to food shows, being around that. My siblings worked in the restaurant industry, kind of seeing that. And I came from a big Italian family where everything's like mangia, so everything was like surrounded around food, like a lot of cultures are. And, started cooking at a young age, really fell in love with it. And then, I was kind of like dicking around a lot after.
What did you fall in love with about it?
I love creating. I was always in a lot of art growing up. I was painting, and I was a dancer, and I played guitar. So I was very artistic in a lot of things. And this was like
big Aquarius energy.
The thing about cooking is it's all the arts. So it's movement of art. You're using all your senses. You're smelling, touching, tasting, seeing, your hearing is sear. This was a full body immersion of like source energy to the fullest of being so present in your craft, and then also like the dopamine rush from it. Like,
I'm trying to get to where you're at, because right now I'm like struggling to make a grilled cheese happen, and people are like,
"Stop it, chef! You know you can make it."
Listen, the other day I made a béarnaise sauce just for funsies at home to see if I could like remember how to do it, and I put Old Bay in it, and it felt magical. Mostly because I'm out of MSG. And that's like the
secret ingredient
to everything.
Everything.
Yeah.
Put it in.
Sprinkle that on my tofu before I came in.
Yes. And one thing that I must say before we continue, during my time back in the kind of, elevated portion of the industry, I'd be like, oh, okay, like, I can make a Sauvignon. A bitch can't. But tried my hardest. I was just like, you just add some Riesling to some egg yolk. That is not only what you do.
Riesling?
That's what I had. Okay? So that's all I'm going to say.
Okay.
Yeah. If anyone asked me to do that now, I'd be like,
Rosé?
Where do you want to go? I would like, let's go somewhere to where I know that we can do that. Or they can do that appropriately.
And you'll be supportive.
Well, yeah, because it's like you always have that creative ambition because you're surrounded, like you're like centered in like this creative ecosystem.
Yeah.
And you're just like, what the fuck? It's like,
it's a centrifuge.
Yeah, and I like look back at certain shit now. I was just like, tuna's not supposed to look like that. It's really not. But also, it also doesn't really taste like tuna, but it's fascinating that it is tuna.
Yep.
I'm like, how did we get here? And, fennel that like doesn't look like it's ever known its father. It's just like, it's baffling to me.
The other day I saw fennel growing in real life and I was like, that shit's wild. It just grow that way? Cool.
Yeah.
Or like asparagus. Listen, the black forager blew that shit up in my brain.
They grow out singularly.
Yeah, I didn't realize.
Don't die.
Just like,
yeah.
And they come back every year, and then more come every year.
Yeah.
Yep.
Huh.
Just like straight up.
Mm-hmm.
It's
And they
weird.
can get really tall, and then they sprout like all of these different kind of like
Asparagus does?
pom-poms on top if you don't cut them early enough. Yep.
Asparagus.
Nature's crazy.
It's beautiful.
That is
Damn nature, you wild.
fucking fascinating.
Yeah.
I had no idea. Huh. So, is it like a bush or a tree?
It's just a shoot.
It's a one asparagus.
Yeah,
Oh,
just
it's
one.
It's a
asparagus.
uno.
It's just
Okay,
out
just-
of the
okay.
ground.
Okay.
And it's like,
Yeah.
I'm here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Mm-hmm.
That's amazing.
Also, while we're talking about weird, pineapples. They
Yeah.
just hang out. They like grow up
Uh-huh.
and they blossom on the like top. And then it gets bigger and bigger and like weighs over. And my mom like randomly tried to grow them in Trinidad. And every year that pineapples have produced, she's been in the States and her next door neighbor, Miss Inez, has been eating them. She has not eaten a single pineapple that she's grown.
That's sad.
Yeah.
Wow.
Also, when you grow pineapples, the whole area smells like pineapples. I lived
Yeah.
in Hawaii for a while, so I
Yeah.
lived by the Dole plantation, and you would drive through there to go to the North Shore and literally just roll down your windows, and it's the most fragrant, beautiful smell.
Is
Kind
that
of looks
the
almost
mo-
like
is
a
that-
little bit like agave coming out,
Yeah.
and then the pineapple
Okay.
comes out of that.
Yeah.
That's
like that.
beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
But does that draw comparisons to when you drive through, the West Loop and you smell chocolate? Is it like that? Is it like
Chicago.
that? Is it? Is
Just-
it? Is it like that?
When I think about that, I think I get like a little PTSD from like
I mean,
hustling my
not
ass
Chicago,
trying to
but
get
like,
to Blackbird on
Yeah.
time, walking past that chocolate and being like, oh, this is like tricking me into thinking that this feels good.
Well,
But
chocolate is wildly problematic.
The
It's crazy
Serotonin.
too because your main sensory nerve goes through your brain, and the way that it connects with memory, and probably still to this day when you go through that area, is it like traumatizing for you?
just a
or-
little bit.
Yeah.
Just a little bit.
That's how I feel about bologna, if I'm honest.
What you got
don't.
against bologna.
I'll just tell this really quickly before we get back
Yeah.
on task.
behind.
So I used to wake up very, very early as a child, and I would go ahead and literally be like, you know what? I don't want to wait for my mom to make breakfast. I'm going to eat one of the first things that I see, and it was always bananas and fucking bologna. And yeah,
Wow, that sounds
you
like a
did that to
nightmare.
yourself.
I never said that I had a banana wrapped in bologna, but just in general,
I was
it's
gonna say
horrible.
that if you did that, that would be like the American version of melon prosciutto.
Iconic. Thank you.
I'm
it would
not
be iconic.
lying.
It would be iconic.
Okay,
The
fine.
American version of prosciutto. I love it. Like prosciutto and melon.
prosciutto and
but
melon.
banana
yeah.
and bologna.
Exactly. Yeah.
Shit.
You are iconic.
I think you're onto
I'm
something
telling
over
you.
there.
Just,
Well,
like, give it a try.
I'm just saying that disgusting choice that I made for so long was iconic. So, because that's how
Well,
I
you're
feel.
just an icon living.
And you know what? We're going to go ahead and cheers to that because Nariba, the way that you just know how to segue is ridiculous. So we're going to cheers to that with this ritual rum old fashioned with sparkling apple syrup and then cinnamon and non-alcoholic bitters, a bit of orange oil served over a Cory ice cube sphere. This just looks absolutely delicious.
It is. I'm trying not to drink it all at once. I like ritual rum is like so distinct.
Yeah.
It has all of the like sweeter caramelly notes that you would get from a dark spirit. But I like that it's balanced out so well. I think with the clove
Yeah.
in this,
Yeah, no, this is...
Ryan be knowing.
Yeah.
He be
yeah.
knowing.
Shout out to Ryan of the Garnet crew for this delicious concoction. And also, I'm just an asshole for like a solid fucking beautiful ice cube.
Oh yeah.
Like, because and I'll be saying this later again, but I truly believe this, that the secret ingredient in any delicious fucking cocktail
It's good ice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a
definitely.
cocktail the other day. I can't remember where I was at. I don't want to say, actually. It ruined the drink. It was Chicago water. I could taste it as it was melting. It was so hot. I was outside on the patio. I had a nice old fashioned after a really long day of service. And
Yeah.
I could taste it.
Was it Chicago water or was it Chicago?
Chicago.
Not Chicago.
Someone asked me the other day when I was like bar wenching if we carried it, and I was like, we just want them to fix the actual water here instead of like coming up with a supplement. So,
Right.
And then he laughed awkwardly and I laughed awkwardly, and I was like, this white man did not think I was going to answer like this, but he asked.
Well, it's just like, well, I'm like, I don't really know what to say in regards to that. So, Max.
Yes.
You have touched upon different areas of the industry. Let's talk about, what are you doing now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's fire.
Yeah, thank you. So, I got my experience, worked fine dining. I worked at Cheval for a little while, worked every kind of position over there, and moved to Hawaii, did some stuff over there, and came
How
back
long
over
were you
here.
in Hawaii?
I was out there for 2 years.
Okay.
Yeah, we were out there
Where about?
in Honolulu.
Okay.
Yeah, my wife got a job out there, and they paid for us to move out there. And
Hell yeah.
And you're like, we're going.
Yeah, we're going. But then we lived there during that nuke scare.
Ooh.
Yo, that's a story. I'll give you some. So
I
this
just
is when
blacked
like
that
Trump.
out.
This is when Trump and Kim Jong-un were like going at it back and forth,
Yeah.
calling him Rocket Man, and everybody's like super scared because like the world can blow up at any moment.
I am
That's-
sweating.
All right, so check this. Let me peep this. So we're in Honolulu. We live like 5 minutes away from downtown, and it's Saturday morning, probably about 8 o'clock. And my wife is like notorious for leaving her alarm on her phone on the weekends to wake up for work. And so her
have
alarm is going
nothing
off,
to
and
say.
I'm like, babe, turn your alarm off. It's Saturday, And she's like, goes over to her alarm, looks at it, and she goes, babe, it's an alert, like an Amber Alert or like an emergency flood warning
Yeah.
alert, and it says
It's like a government
it's a
alert.
government alert. Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. It
Yeah.
says this is not a drill. There is a missile coming to you from North Korea,
Yo.
and we're like, what?
Absolutely the fuck not.
What? And then she tells me that. I was like, shut the fuck up.
Right.
And so she's like, seriously. So I walk over to my phone and I was like, oh my God. So then I went to the bathroom and brushed my teeth.
Oh, so you were just chilling.
I didn't know what to do. I was like, oh my God. My
my
wife's a doctor. So
Yeah.
she's like, all right, antibiotics, water, get the dogs, throwing all the things in the
Yeah.
bag. And I'm like, oh, I got to have fresh breath, when I'm dying.
You're just like, you're like, if this is gonna be the end of
Yeah,
it,
gotta
but you
go
know
out
what?
clean.
At least I'm going out minty.
Yeah.
My
Minty fresh. So it was about 38 minutes of mass hysteria before we got the second text. But during that time, we were calling our parents to say goodbye. People were putting their kids in sewer drains. From what I talk about, other people on the island,
Yeah.
they were like in grocery stores dropping their milk, and people were driving crazy. I mean, it was literally mass hysteria for 38 minutes.
My mouth has just been agape since you started this fucking story.
I-
Oh my God.
Cannot imagine. Also,
So check this. So after all that, the nerves settle, we realized we're not dying. We were going to get in the car and go up to the North Shore because we lived in between Pearl Harbor and, Waikiki. But like we were just we were freaking out. I sent a text and we were going out the rest of the day, and my wife had like an employee appreciation party on the west side of the island at the Four Seasons. So we went out there and they were doing like a lot
I
of
love that they do a pizza party in other industries.
Even for medical people. You know?
Oh, it wasn't it was a Four Seasons thing.
Oh, it was
I
like
mean,
bigger.
that's,
So
that's
it
just
was-
a fancy.
okay.
That's like a charcuterie board to Lunchables. You know what I mean? Like they're just it's fine.
I
we
love the elevation, actually, of it.
So we go
We
out
still
there
get
and-
pizza parties, Four Seasons. I love it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
So we go out there and they're like giving away like raffles and doing all this stuff. And we ended up winning a free 5-day trip to Vegas. So I woke up that morning, thought I was going to die. By the end of the day, I won a free trip to Vegas. What a roller coaster
That's
of
a
a
roller
day.
coaster of fucking emotions.
So, but my wife was like mad freaked out after that and was like, we have to leave here with like everything that was going on with the Trump and trigger fingers and Twitter and all that stuff. So we ended up moving back home.
Yeah.
So when I came back home, I was kind of like just like figuring out what I was going to do. And then I kind of, you know, I had this experience that like changed my life and my views on food. And I started Herbivore. Herbivore was born. And now I do plant-based comfort food.
I love that so much. I love that so much. So I want to talk about that in depth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you reference plant-based, which is amazing.
Yeah.
Others may reference it as vegan.
Yeah.
Can you kind of talk to us about the difference of that? Because veganism can come across as being judgmental.
Yeah.
Just in my
I was
own
like, that's
personal
an
capacity.
aggressive statement.
I don't feel like it's an aggressive statement for
Well, that's
me.
your
because-
experience.
Oh,
with
exactly.
vegans.
Yeah,
That's your own personal
Yeah,
experience,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
And I think that's a lot of people's experiences. You know, plant-based is a diet, okay?
Yeah.
And veganism is a philosophy. That's the way that I break it down, right?
Yeah.
So in my philosophy in life, I approach like a vegan philosophy. But my approach towards people and this type of movement or way of thinking is more from a non-judgmental place, more from like a Buddhist philosophy, rather than I'm going to be militant. I'm going to drive you to the ground. I'm going to make you feel bad about what you're doing because let me tell you, I wasn't always vegan. I wasn't born vegan.
Fair.
So this was a change of life for me and a new understanding.
Yeah. Can you, if you're comfortable, share with us what kind of shifted your relationship with food?
Sure. You know, being in the industry, you know, we get really worn down and we catch what I like to call social viruses or sicknesses, especially in our industry.
For sure.
You know, it's really toxic, you know, especially working on some of the caliber of restaurants that we've all worked on. You know, it's like go, go, go. We have these expectations and then it's, you know, let's get drunk after or do cocaine or do whatever else and, you know, self-harm. And along that way, I also got injured. When I was working at Spiaggia, actually on my day off after New Year's, after like one of the craziest shifts of my life, I tore my ACL and I tore my meniscus and then I had to get surgery and I was going, my ex had left me in the hospital during that time and it was just a really traumatizing experience and I became addicted to opiates from that, you know?
Wow.
And that was a really hard journey for me. And I had a few more surgeries after that and it just kept getting worse. The pain was really bad. And then obviously you go back to the industry and it's not easy to function once you've had an injury like that and you're addicted to something like that. So I tried the conventional route, you know, going to rehab, doing the NA, doing that stuff. And it just wasn't working for me. I'd get a little bit of clean time and then I'd fall back into the same cycle. It doesn't work for a lot of
people.
No, it doesn't.
Actually.
Because we're not treating the root of the problem. That's what I've realized from this, right? We're treating the surface, and what they give you for opiate addiction is they give you this medicine called Suboxone or methadone. And basically all they're doing is giving you the same opiate without giving the high. So you're still physically and mentally addicted to this.
It's a monitored high.
It's monitored by the government because they want you to pay them monthly. They need their check, you know?
Right.
So, you know, I was, you know, kind of at, you know, the end of my route and I was like, I can't do this anymore. I don't know what to do. And, you know, because my wife is a physician, I told her about this episode of Law and Order that I saw this medicine called Iboga. And it's plant medicine, similar to ayahuasca, a little bit
I was
bigger.
going to ask if it's like in that same fam.
Yeah, it's in the same fam. It's bigger than ayahuasca. It's been used by millennia by the Bwiti tribe of the Congo. And then in the 60s, a heroin addict stumbled upon it and it cured his heroin addiction. He was such a believer in this that he kept pushing the government to research it. Well, in the 1990s, they had an FDA study by Dr. Deborah Mash out of the University of Miami. She's a neuroscientist, and they did studies on it that were so successful. The success rates were, after 6 months, it was an 83% success rate. Now, conventional rehab is 3%.
Yeah.
So once they found out about that, Big Pharma, they cut funding on it, and Iboga kind of fell through the cracks.
So I mean, this is fascinating for so many different reasons. One thing that I will definitely mention, that everyone's health journey is their own, and you know, we do not, or most certainly are not authorized to provide any sort of medical advice, but I think it's really, really important for people to have agency over their own health care.
Yes.
Absolutely.
But that comes with a few things, right? Like you have to be able to afford that agency.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like
That's the
insurance
first one right
premiums
there.
are fucking real. You know, and I mean, I had an entire conversation for, I feel like, 3 hours with my mother, who used to be just a bomb-ass person at the American Medical Association. And I was like, make this make sense to me.
Yeah.
Make it make sense to me.
Yeah.
And for my entire adult life, she's like, well, it's to help you in case something happens. I was like, so this is very interesting to me, because at this rate, have something happen to me, because then I feel as if like I'm getting some sort of discount, you know, because like this is insane. And to kind of not kind of, but to tie back to hospitality, people are often looking at the number that's in front of them versus the number that they should be striving for in order to make sure that they're in control for decisions of themselves. And I say all of that because, like, I do commend you for, one, being open with your journey, but then also like looking into additional avenues for your own self-care and meeting yourself where the fuck you are at.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it takes a lot of courage to step out of the conventional programming that we've all been taught throughout our entire lives, that the medical care and these providers are going to save us.
Yeah.
But the only one that's going to save you is yourself.
Yeah.
Right?
For sure.
So I think that I gave my power to the medical system, you know, through the journey of getting all these surgeries and this and that, and back surgery and 5 knee surgeries. And
Which was like unavoidable. You definitely had to have the surgeries.
No. I mean, we can get further down that path if you guys want to.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
during my first surgery, they did my ACL and my meniscus, and it was 3 months, no weight bearing. And I kept telling the doctor after, this was all before I met my wife, okay? So I kept telling the doctor I was having like some kind of pain in the back of my leg, and they weren't listening to me. Oh, I didn't operate back there. I don't know what's going on. Then I had saw somebody who had given me an MRI, who was a chiropractor friend, and in the MRI it showed that I had sciatic nerve impingement on L5.
I got that.
Was ignored. Okay. Then I went to Hawaii, and then this illness got worse. Then we came back, and then I got the back surgery, and so the first surgery, they ended up herniating my disc, and I had
Oh my goodness.
sciatic nerve pain going down my leg. So people weren't listening to me. People were like not looking at the charts or whatever they were doing, and I got lost in it. And then not till I told my wife all this stuff, and she's like, well, it sounds like you have a herniated disc. And I was like, no, they looked at my MRI, they said that. And then when we came back from Hawaii, she looked at all the charts, and she's like, right here, it says it right here. So then we went to Northwestern, and I got my back surgery. But what was interesting is when I had that back surgery, it fixed the disc, but I still had pain. And so I'll talk about that when I move forward with this journey that I had. So, you know, we researched a place in Mexico that it's called Clear Skies. For anybody who wants to know, Clear Skies Ibogaine Clinic. And they were the ones that did the trials in the 90s. They opened up their own clinic out there. So they've been there for almost 20 years.
Wow.
So it's like a clinic on the beach with doctors and nurses. It's in more of like a villa type setting, right? But you go there, when you get there, they start titrating you down from whatever you're on. Mine obviously was opiates, so they had to titrate.
For those like me.
Okay. I was like, I'm going with
I
you
don't know
because
what
I
that
know, but
means.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So opiates are pain pills. It's typically given to you, post-surgery. Basically, it's morphine, which is derived from, heroin. All that stuff comes from the same, family of narcotics. Yeah. So if anybody's seen any movies, you see these people going through withdrawals. It's pretty unbearable. Pain.
Is that where like a lot of the, terminology of like strung out come from?
Yeah. Right? Yeah. You're just like kind of not there. You're passing out. You're nodding out. You're just disconnected from life. I mean, someone like me who loves to connect with everybody, like I was at a place in my life where I was disconnected. Yeah. Because I didn't know how to deal with my pain. And my pain was like unbearable because every time I would come off these things, my pain was magnified, right? So what happens when you take opiates, your brain creates new pain receptors to feel new pain, because when you take the opiates, it fills your pain receptors. So how are you going to feel new pain without new receptors? And that's why people's tolerances build, because you have to keep taking them to achieve this next level. Yeah. Okay. So when you remove all them, it's like ripping a Band-Aid off. You have all this fresh skin, but also on top of it, it's all the emotional things that you haven't been dealing with throughout that time. So it's an emotional pain, it's physical, it's mental, and it was really unbearable for me. So I'm like, this is my last straw. I was literally like knocking on death's door. I was very depressed. I didn't know how to get out of it. And I was lucky enough to be in the financial situation to do something like this, because not everybody has access to this. Not everybody has a financial capability of doing this. And you hit it right on the head when you said that, and I resonated with it because it's expensive.
Yeah.
I mean, it's expensive, and my wife wanted me to go to the best doctors. There's other clinics that'll do it for half the price, but this is my life.
Yeah.
So.
And especially with everything you already went through on the physical end of the spectrum, it's like, if you're going to do it right.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So I go to this clinic. It's outside of Cancun. They're titrating me down. It was pretty unbearable, but once I was there and kind of like settled in, I was like, I'm doing this. So it was about 3 days of going through, I wouldn't say minor, but like medium withdrawal symptoms. And then my date is actually July 12th, which is tomorrow. So this is very special for me. So right now, 3 years ago, I was like going through the thick of it, and they cut you off from, they were giving me morphine to like help me. They cut me off at like midnight or something. So at 4 o'clock in the morning, I'm sick, and I'm waiting for them to get there, and the nurses get there, and I'm like, I'm just ready. Like I didn't even care at this point. I was like, just get this feeling away from me, because what I was told is when you take this plant medicine, right, it gets rid of your withdrawal symptoms. And I'm like, what? Because how many times I've gone through this, and I'm like, wow, I wish there was something that could help curb this. Yeah. So they put me in the room that's like, the medical room. They have an IV, heart monitor, all of these different things. And they come in and they give you a dose dependent on your weight. And it's...
But also saying that is just like traumatic.
Yeah.
In and of itself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because like I'm sitting over here with like goosebumps and getting like low key emotional, because I'm like, I cannot fucking fathom.
Surgery of my soul.
Yeah.
Straight up.
I'm like, I feel like resonating on like the 10% bar of that, because I would say when I stopped doing coke, I was so angry for like months. It felt like I didn't know how to deal with like people's emotions coming at me. Yeah. And it was very frustrating. And I did it like cold turkey. Like I tried to call NA, and it was the like most unhelpful thing. Mm-hmm. Like for someone who is like trying to reach out and get some help, it was like a surly person on the phone who texted me a link and never followed up until like 7 months later.
Their methods are outdated.
Oh yeah, 110%. And I know that as like someone who went to school for mental health, but I was like so desperate at the time to like do something different that I was like, okay, fuck it. And then what worked for me, which doesn't work for everyone else, was already having an action plan with my therapist, and like having a friend who was also on a sober journey in a different way, and being able to talk to someone. Yeah. But like, I don't think, well, in retrospect, maybe I did have like some withdrawal, like physical withdrawal, but like nothing in comparison to like what you are describing.
Yeah, but you still have a big mental aspect to
The
it.
mental part was fucked.
and that takes over. Their mind, body, and soul are one, right?
Yeah.
So like you might not feeling the physical withdrawal symptoms, but you are feeling mental, which is now you could be psychosomaticizing pain, right?
Yeah.
You could be psychosomaticizing cravings or whatever that you're going through. It doesn't minimize or negate anything that you're going through at
I'm
that time.
learning how to curb my fucking
props to
sugar
you.
now. Thank you.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
It's beautiful. I'm so happy for you.
Yeah, and I just listening to both of you interact, I can't connect with it on that same level. However, you know, we have talked about this in, you know, season 2. Like I had a stroke when I was 2. It was in what happened right where my brainstem and my fucking spinal cord meet, and then, you know, it just like it affected one side of my body versus like crossing over. I was 2 years old. There was all of this shit. It's just like, you know, it was the longest thing. And so when I think about hospitals and when I think about care and when I think about access very specifically, I think about my mother, who calls me every morning on August 20th and leaves me the longest and most emotional
Because her baby
voicemail.
survived.
Exactly. And I forget about it every year until it happens. I was just like, I didn't need to hear this because
You're
now
her
I'm
miracle.
all fucking... Exactly.
Yeah.
And so, bitch, I know. But just truthfully and, you know, transparently, the amount of trauma that my mother had to like face head on and like see her child be just, I can't imagine. I can't imagine. And I don't have a memory of it. So the fact that like you both have some connection to it, it's just like...
Well, just because you don't have a memory doesn't mean that it's not traumatic on your
body.
on your
Right.
energetic
Yeah.
body.
Yeah.
And that's something that I learned from this experience that I've had after that, is that we don't talk about the energetic body enough and how we hold trauma and all of these things in our body. And, you know, what this experience gave me was an energetic purge, you know, a spiritual colonic, so to speak.
How did I know that that's where you were going with it? I was like, I'm waiting. Here it is. All right.
You know.
Yeah.
So, where did I leave off on telling you about that experience? I was about to get the medicine.
Yes, exactly.
So he came in and gave me the dose. He's like, this is by the Bwiti tribe. It's been used by like millennia. They want you to listen to this, like the African music that they play. But I was like, I don't want any of the music. I just wanted, I'll put the blindfolds
You were like
on.
skepticism.
Yeah, I was, because then you're hearing all these things from other people that have done it, and obviously I built it up in my head, and I wasn't in the headspace that I was at this time. So I'm in full-blown withdrawal. They give me the medicine. It's about 20 minutes in, and I feel like a burning sensation in my chest, like euphoria, and all my withdrawal symptoms are gone.
What?
Okay. So then it felt like an extraterrestrial hijacked my body, and I could feel it going in there and just doing like its magic and its work, going in my brain and my arms and like everything. And with this particular medicine, it's not like ayahuasca. If you take a threshold dose where you have like an out-of-body experience, this is a full in-body experience, like you're watching a movie of your life with your eyes closed. So I did not close my eyes. I was like, I'm gonna beat this fucking game. I'm gonna get cured, but not close my eyes. So for about an hour and a half into this experience, I'm like this with my eyes closed and fighting it. And resistance is not the way to handle plant medicine.
Yeah.
You have to let go.
Yeah. That's why I don't fuck with shrooms.
So with
It forces
with
me
that-
to do that.
With that, well, I know that I've talked about this, you know, outside of this platform. It's just like I have a lot of trauma in my upbringing. I got a lot of locked doors back there. So when people have spoken to me about like, you know, like shrooms, dude, you can tell, I was just like, I'm consciously.
We're not saying that this is the same. Just so people know. Yeah.
Absolutely. And so, but consciously, I'm terrified of subconsciously finding the key to unlock that door.
Yeah.
Because no, ma'am.
But just imagine if you unlock that door, all the possibilities that you can awaken yourself to your true nature.
And I love that.
For other people.
I love that for them. I just,
it's not for everybody. I'll just say it right now. It's not for everybody.
I'm sweating right now, just like thinking about it. I'm just like, whoo. I'm like, it is buried deep down in there, honey. Mm-hmm. It's there.
So it's like forcing you to go through all the steps of it inside.
But I want to be on the opposite side of it. But
absolutely. Basically, when I did finally let go, I closed my eyes and it felt like almost like I was being dragged through from the bottom of the lowest totem of the vibration through an elevator, and I was literally feeling my vibration raise in the back of my ears the whole time. I could hear a light buzzing sound where I could definitely feel like my pineal gland was tapped into a different frequency, and with my eyes closed I can see my whole life and everything that had happened, and it was almost like computers in the 90s. Like the screen was like black with green, and like it was just like showing me everything, like science and nature and like mathematics and like all of these things.
There was a floppy disk in there, and
straight up.
Yeah. Had to have been. It's not the 90s without a fucking floppy.
No, there was a floppy in there.
And I'm, everyone's gonna take it as a joke, but I mean, I'm just saying, in general.
It's like when kids these days don't know that floppy disks are like the save icon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They're like, when they see a floppy disk in real life, they're like, the save icon.
Yeah.
Like, that's what it's like now.
God bless Gen Z. Is that Gen Z?
I don't fucking know.
I don't know what goes after Gen Z. It's okay. Wait, go on.
So, first I worked through some of my trauma. I've had childhood trauma, and I've had things happen to me in my life that I didn't know how to process. I wasn't given the tools to cope, and I don't know that my parents were, or maybe a lot of people weren't given those tools. And growing up early in the industry, the way that we coped was like escaping. Right.
Yeah.
So I had years of trauma, let's say almost 20 years of trauma that I just it was never addressed properly. And this is you're going to address this right now. So they call Iboga, the stern father, and they call ayahuasca the loving mother.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if that is anything, so Iboga is telling me yo, this is what you need to do. This is what's going on. We're addressing all of these things right now. And once I went through and worked through all of that trauma, it then showed me the universe and not necessarily how we were created, but creation in a whole of how we all got here and we didn't know what we were doing, and ego was developed, and agriculture, and this is yours, this is mine, and boundaries, and how we've just developed in this unnatural world that we're living in now. And when it showed me all of these things, it showed me that we have this beautiful planet, that we have all of these medicines on Earth to cure everything, and we're destroying it.
Yeah.
It then showed me that we're all one, and that we're one consciousness operating through different bodies. And I'm not talking about human entities only, I'm talking about animals. And it showed me that I'm the animals and the animals are me. And when I eat them, I'm not only eating the physical matter, but I'm eating the energy. I'm eating that life of suffering and slavery and depression and abuse. And what you eat, you become. What you think, you become. And being this classically trained chef that have worked at some of the best restaurants, my mind was fucking blown. And I was
I'm gonna cry.
I'm sitting here and I feel like I'm mildly
because
tripping.
Max, you are preaching and but not in a way that I would equate it to a preacher. You are just
speaking my truth.
Yeah.
Yes,
but the conviction is refreshing as fuck.
Abso-fucking-lutely.
Thank you. I appreciate you guys listening to me and hearing my story.
Yeah.
So it showed me this, and when I eat this energy, then I become this, and I couldn't believe it. And I had some more of the journey after, and just more of the realization of everything that was happening. And I got out of the room, and I hyper processed this medicine. I mean, this medicine is a 24-hour medicine, because then I started doing weird things in this experience, chanting, which I've never done. And let me preface it with this, I was a material reductionist. I did not believe in anything. I was an atheist. I was if I can't see it, touch it, feel it, it does not exist. Real. So I now had this experience with all of this medicine, and my whole views were changed. And it's not I hadn't tried psilocybin in the past or experienced with medicines, but it's been a long time, and I've never done it in an intentional setting where I was Thank you.
Thank you.
There you
We
go.
have another round of garnet
Yeah.
drinks, and we were just trying to figure that out.
Pause.
But yes, no, it's fine. Okay.
Ooh,
Go on, Max.
Sorry. Smell it, everyone.
Yeah, we can get a little smell here. What are we drinking here, Justin?
This is a blueberry thyme shrub boy.
Yeah, so...
Shrub girl.
Shout out
They,
again
them.
to our friends
Ooh, she nice.
at Ritual Beverage. Specifically, we are enjoying Ritual whiskey with blueberry thyme syrup, lemon juice, soda water, over crushed ice, and this, we have used the term delightful 1,000 times. This is a vibe. I fuck with this heavy.
Oh, I fuck with this heavy as well, sir.
Yeah, yeah. This is...
Brian needs to get the fuck out. Get. What?
Thank you, Ryan. And this is, it's... You can taste the seasons past, but you know what's coming up. Oof. Yeah.
Wordsmith over there.
Thank you so
I
very
love
much.
it.
You know what I mean? I'm just like, I dabble.
He did.
Yeah, so I'm like, it's fine. It's fine. I'm like,
Damn, that's
we're
good.
It's nice. Absolutely. And
Whatever.
also just compared to the last one, you just see the spectrum of what's possible.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's
Ritual is just making it happen.
I mean, they're that girl.
Yeah.
They're that girl.
Yeah.
So
You're not
yes,
wrong.
Yeah. So yeah.
So yeah, I came out of the experience. I called my wife. I processed the drug. That's what I was saying. The medicine. Drugs are made by doctors. Medicine comes from Earth.
Dang!
Fighting words?
No, I'm here for it. Yeah.
I love it. Yes.
So
Yeah.
after I get out, I call my wife, who's actually a doctor. And I call her and I was like, listen, like that didn't work. They're hustling me, but we're all one and I'm never doing heroin again.
Okay.
And so I was like, and we're vegan now.
All right. And that was
it. And so I came home from my time in Mexico and, I just was eating more whole foods, raw foods at that time because I feel like every time I do these medicines, it's always telling me to operate your machinery properly. You need to be eating things in its whole raw form. That's when you get the most nutrients. But obviously I'm a chef and I like to make things and I'm not a raw vegan chef. That's not what I like to do. So I went out and I was trying to explore food and I was like, no, none of this stuff is really that good. And so I was like,
because you felt like it wasn't a focus and it was more so of an afterthought.
I feel like a lot of people start vegan companies and because they want to help the movement and they're like, I can make this, so they think it's good. And a lot of times they're not trained and maybe they're not the best person to front that movement.
yes.
So with my training, and my love for certain nostalgic cult classics, I had to remake them. So I was like, when am I going to have like a pizza puff again or an Italian beef or some of these things? And I'm like,
absolutely.
how do I do
obsessed
this?
with how
because I
you
never got to
like-
have, this is the last time. It just, this
It just
happened to me.
happened. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm like, all right, I'm going to do this. And then the pandemic hit and I'm like, okay, so then I focused in on, making like
hyper-focus.
seitans
Yeah.
and, making cheeses because I didn't like seitan at first. But then I was like, man, they've been
different
making it for
ways,
over
yeah.
thousands of years.
Yeah.
There has to be more to it. What am I missing?
Right.
So I got in my lab and I started cooking it up and, recreating these classic cult classic dishes. And then I started putting it on my Herbivore pop-up page and people were just like, oh my God, you got to do something. So I got really lucky enough to work out of a ghost kitchen in Logan Square where they let me do curbside pickups out of there, which was really convenient because pop-ups weren't happening at that time. Nobody was going out.
Right.
And we just started recreating. One of the big things that people love that we recreate was we made a vegan Big Mac, which I've coined the Big Macs.
Yes.
And with that one,
I peeked that on the interwebs.
we got nationally recognized for that in Veg Out magazine. We were published as second best vegan burger in America under Monty's, which I don't know if you're familiar with them. They're in California. Joaquin Phoenix, after he gave his notorious Grammy speech about veganism in his 5 minutes up there, he went there after, and there's tons of pictures of them. So we don't even have a brick and mortar, and to get that kind of notoriety was just... It was awesome. It's like we're doing cool things that are getting people's attention. And that's all I want to do is I want to reframe the way that people look at veganism and plant-based food, you know, and it's been really rewarding and one of the most challenging things for me as a chef because, you know, I'm having to like think out of the box and, you know, it's kind of a little molecular gastronomy where you're, you know, recreating things and to mimic animal proteins and manipulating molecules. And it's been fun, man.
So
I've been like deep in that shirt recently. Of
deep
like,
in that shirt that needs to be on one of your shirts, like in the pocket,
in
the pocket, deep in that shirt.
Yes,
if I don't get a free one of those, like you guys, I'm gonna come for you for this episode. All right, straight up.
Okay, Max will not clear this episode if that does not work. Okay, yeah,
fair.
Got you. Yep.
So. No, recently I've been like trying more plant-based proteins.
Yeah.
And it's only because like shit just dies in my fridge. Like when I go grocery shopping, I just watch like green beans just like judge me. Like, bitch, you gonna cook me? Why'd you buy me? So I've been trying to like buy less proteins in like, you know, animal proteins and focus more on things that I know that I will eat like every day. So
what do you got in there?
It started with just the Beyond breakfast sausages, and I would use that to make like breakfast tacos and like just like quick shit for almost 4 months last year. Every day I had
Any doubles?
If you come for me one more time
on.
about these doubles,
Not the code switching.
listen,
Go on.
how about you come to my house?
Okay, season 3, we're making it happen.
Gunshots.
Okay.
Shots to the head.
God. All right. But it started off there, and then when I was working with Hunt Dog, he was getting a bunch of samples in from all these different companies, and one of them I think was like A5 like Wagyu like situation, and he cooked it and he was like, it's not that it doesn't taste like what it's supposed to, but it does taste like meat. It has the correct texture. It straight up tasted like Spam. Which I
was that Juicy Marbles?
fuck with. Yeah.
That sounds pretty cool.
It's different.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed it, but I was like, this is some fancy Spam.
Yeah.
I would use it for musubi.
Oh yeah. You know I ate that shit every day in Hawaii.
I'm
I
not
don't even know what that is.
jealous.
It's the rice with the nori wrapped around and spam.
Spam,
there
yeah.
we go. Okay,
Yeah.
got it.
And sometimes they be egg, but sometimes they don't be egg.
What about Just Egg? Speaking of eggs, have you tried that?
Okay,
That's
literally.
an incredible product. My sister actually works for Just.
I haven't tried it, but I watched that I think it was called Whites, that show a couple years back, and there's a scene where the server comes in and asks for an eggless omelet.
Oh,
And I was
is
like, it exists now. You can have
it
an
does.
eggless omelet.
Yeah.
Is it like a British show?
Yeah. And he was like, well, I can't make you an eggless omelet because of eggs. And it just turns into like a plate with parsley garnish on it.
Yeah, I've seen that too.
Yeah. But now that's real.
Yeah, they make it with mung beans.
Oh,
It's incredible. And you can make like a French style omelet with it.
Well, that's what I was thinking about the other night. I would like want to get it so that I can do that.
Oh,
I wanted to test the limit.
Oh, you can do like the amu rice with the fried rice with the egg that just like opens in the gravy.
All right.
It's it's an incredible product.
Nuriwa, did we ever talk about my time in Columbus, Ohio?
I mean, you mention it, but you never talk about it. It's
This is
like,
also
I'm like,
facts.
is it a step sibling that you're like
Pretty much.
trying to forget about?
So I worked at a vegan concept. I actually worked at a multifaceted property with like it was such a unique introduction into vegan, right? So it was owned by Magil Womark and his wonderful wife Kristen. He helmed, the back of house. She took care of the front of house. They had 2 amazing kids that, lived upstairs. To the left of Dragonfly was Neo V, which was a kind of like public art gallery space. In the middle, which was their brunch and dinner concept, was Dragonfly. And then to the right of that was On the Fly, which was their vegan street food concept. And it was something really fascinating being a part of, because they grew as much shit as they possibly could.
Mm-hmm.
They taught me about biodynamic wines and like, you know, energy and like shit like that. And they had this like fire ass like mac and cheese that was not mac and cheese, but they had this like hanja manji mushroom like fritter on top for like texture. It like, and they were doing that in Columbus, Ohio, which is a meat and potatoes town, and they were doing that shit for 11 years prior to me even getting there, and it really kind of like helped steer me in the direction of the industry that I've been a part of, because I had an opportunity to like, I would stay in Columbus, or, you know, I'd go back out east or maybe go west, but I was like, I'll go to Chicago, because the way that these people spoke about wellness, the way that they spoke about, you know, just being mindful of your place within this like global ecosystem, it's shit that I will never ever forget. And all of that is rushing back to me listening to you, Max, because I'm like, you know, they were trying to put me on.
They were. They sound amazing.
Yeah, they're absolutely amazing.
I think the part of this conversation that sticks out to me specifically is when you talk about the consumption of energy.
Yeah.
And I think it's because I've done way too much acid. But like, there was one point where in college I was tripping and I saw the entire world in atomic form. Like, I couldn't, even when I closed my eyes, I could see like the atoms in the like darkness of my fucking eyes. And I was like, if we're all connected and like all this energy is being shared constantly, like when we interact with the world, it's just like vibrations pushing off of each other, and that's what gives us space and stuff. And I never once thought about that in terms of like animal protein, because I'm like, I know that when we eat we're taking in energy, but the way that you described it, I was like, fuck.
You know what this also reminds me of? It's like, it's a beautiful progression from when we sat down with Breza and Mecca of Sisters in the Village.
Yes.
Because they were talking about like the stewardness of, you know, land and like ancestry, and like that is how you find your connection through your roots.
And putting that trap music in your fucking food.
Yeah.
Grow the vegetables with
while they're listening to trap.
Exactly.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
Well, everything is vibration.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know? And I think that we forget about it because our frontal lobe, which is like where our ego is from, it makes everything steady and look like everything's solid, and it's not. Everything's an illusion. Like you were saying, the interconnectedness, it's like we're all one. And I'm not saying that, it's just an illusion of separateness.
Yeah.
We're all one consciousness operating through different forms.
Very fungus, very mushroom of us.
Yeah, very mushroom of us.
Yeah. So
I know, it's the deep side.
I know. Because like I want to keep going.
The conversation always wants to keep happening.
Yes. And I just, you know, I want to be mindful of time here.
Sure.
But in conclusion, just on my end, I have a final question for you.
Yeah.
So I feel like you've touched upon it, but I'd like to kind of like flip it. You know, I was originally going to ask you what are your grievances of the industry, but I want to hear, what do you feel are like some like victories of the industry?
Well, I think I can tie both of those things hand in hand right now, is that I appreciate every single thing that I've gone through because it makes me who I am today. There's beauty in the struggle.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
My victories is overcoming the person that put me in that box, which was myself, right?
Yep.
I was the warden. I was the judge. I was the police officer. I put myself in that own prison. And it's unfortunate because we live in a society where I got sick and I didn't have the tools, you know? But because of all that, this sprung from it. So I felt so defeated at one point in my life that I wanted to die because I was struggling so much and I couldn't get out and I couldn't see the light. But keep going. Just keep going.
Yeah.
Believe in yourself and make sure you have a tribe of people around you that love you, because let me tell you, the one thing that I learned from this is that love is always the answer. And the one thing that I got from this experience that changed everything was self-love. Because when you love yourself, you become so capable of loving everybody and everything else around you. And it becomes life-changing. And then your profession and your passion, and then it becomes your purpose. And what I'm doing is activism through art, because the way to get to someone's heart is through their belly.
You damn right.
And your gut biome is your second intelligence. So we need to feed it living, loving, high vibrational things, because we all want to vibe high and do big things. So I'm not going to sit here and try to preach.
I want to be here with you and be here for it. And I'm just like, when you walk out the door, I'm like, the energy is going to go away. I'm going to be like, I'm going to eat a hot dog and be sad.
I'm going to get you a field roast hot dog. Those are delicious.
Okay.
Portillo's has them now.
Tell me.
You can get a vegan hot dog from Portillo's.
I eat a vegan Chicago dog every day at work because we have the ability to switch them out. And I have sold so many people on switching out the dog for the vegan sausage.
Nice.
Every little bit counts. I'm not going to convince everybody to be vegan. That's not my place. There's no judgment here. I once ate meat. I got there obviously through this journey. What I'd like to say is that let's just try doing meatless Mondays, or have a couple plant-based meals a week, and do cool ideas with your friends, and let's just make a bigger impact for the environment, for our health, and for the animals.
Literally, eat more ethnic foods, because I didn't realize that half the shit I was eating growing up was already vegan.
Everything from the east side of the world is pretty much 100% plant-based.
Yeah. So,
it's a beautiful thing.
Oh.
I
love this conversation
so much.
How can we hang out with you in real world?
Yes.
Let's
How
do
can
that.
we find you? For those in the digital world.
So you can find me on Instagram at Herbivore, HERBIVORE _Chicago. On Facebook, we're on Herbivore. I'm Chef Max Musto. We work out of a ghost kitchen in Logan Square called Envision Unlimited, which is actually a non-for-profit. It hosts as a day center for mentally challenged adults, and there's a licensed kitchen in there, so all the money that I pay to rent it goes right back into that nonprofit.
I know her. Hunter worked there.
Yeah. Okay. Hell yeah, Hunter.
Yeah.
And then we do a lot of pop-ups. So we're bouncing around. We'll be at the Native, Visterio, Royal Palms.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I got a couple other things in the works that I really can't say. But
hell yeah.
Really exciting. Just follow us. Hit me up. Hit me in the DMs. I love to talk about this. I appreciate y'all. Thank you.
This is so beautiful.
Yeah.
Damn. All right. Well, thanks for coming.
Thanks for having me. Sorry to drop an emotional bomb on you and be like, deuces.
I'm gonna leave now.
Yeah, no,
that's about right.
no,
That's what it's like every time, actually.
Yeah, before I continue, I just, am going to do the things that I know that we have to do.
Yes. The thanks.
Yes, forever and always. Thank you so much, Chef, for sitting down with us. But in addition to that, Blind Barber Chicago for hosting this necessary conversation. Also our homies at Ritual Beverage for the support. Shout out to the full production team. Shout out to Max, our producer. So there's two Maxes here.
Max squared.
Yes. Ryan of Garnet for these delicious concoctions.
Get out.
Corey Ice for, again, being that secret ingredient within these concoctions. Fun fact about Corey Ice is that they carve their ice from the same steel made to use Japanese samurai swords. Dope as fuck.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then also just shout out to, our editing team and, we have a lot of amazing things coming down the pipeline and, merch.
No.
Our
Very
producer
nice.
loves the merch, so that is coming down. We got a whole care package coming your way. Max, don't you worry about it. Nariba's going to take notes on that.
Excellent.
I just have to say, before I sign off, is this was such a reminder for me because I get so in my own head of like having to perform and do and like
Exist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I just want to thank you again. And I am Justin Arnett Graham, and you can find me on Instagram at thisisbiko. And you gotta love yourself, y'all, because you're worth it.
Yeah.
Nariba?
And it's your girl, Nariba Shepherd. I will say that coming out of this conversation, I'm definitely feeling like a shift in my energy and like a hopefulness that I did not necessarily walk into the day
things
with.
Feel a little brighter.
Just a little bit brighter. So I want to thank you for coming down and being an Aquarius all over this bitch. But yeah, my name's Nariba Shepherd. You can find me on Instagram at REBARU. That's Rebaru. And we'll see you next time.
Love
Deuces.
ya, and also love yourselves.
Peace, love, and plants.
Yes.
Oh, damn!
Mic drop.